All right, let's start it up. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm humping it.
Oh, hump it. I love that. Ooh, let's talk about jail flames. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Okay Bud, the podcast where everything's going to be okay, bud. I am Ben Kissel at Ben Kissel 1, joined by, as always, by Jerii Aquino.
Hello.
At Miss_Jerii and Kyle Ploof.
Hey.
At Kyle Ploof. Check us out on Patreon Live. You can comment on the show and everything. Patreon.com/diebud. Also, shoot us an email. okbudpod@gmail.com. Send us pictures of your cats. Tell us stories of woe or happy stories.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Why not? Or dare I say, stories of toads.
God, I felt that coming.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
You've been around me too much.
Yeah.
The curse?
Woes.
The curse has officially settled in.
Wow.
Speaking of cursing, speaking of curses, you know, it's one thing to be on trial for killing your boyfriend, but it's another thing to not get the pleasure of doing it.
Yeah.
I know, especially with how annoying he was and how much she liked to yell at him.
Yep. So John O'Keefe, that's the dude who died in Boston. He was the one who was killed either by Karen Reed or by a jury of his peers, a.k.a. other police officers.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Definitely that one.
Perhaps, right?
Yeah.
It seems it's leaning towards that one, although Kyle is going to let us know as it is Karen Reed Fridays.
Yes.
Nice. Is that a thing?
I guess so.
We've been doing it every Friday.
I've just been doing it coincidentally on Friday.
So yeah, I'm branding it. Now I'm branding it Karen Reed Friday.
Nice.
So Kyle, what's going on in the Karen Reed trial?
We are.
And is she looking good or is she looking real bad?
Well, he'll tell you if you let him.
She
I
looking
know. This is
good.
what I like to do, though, is interrupt. I like to ask the question.
Yeah.
So Kyle, just go on. And so anyway,
So many people are like that.
It is officially halfway through the trial.
halftime.
Halftime.
Ooh, I wonder what they're going to do
Who's
for
doing the halftime show?
Oh, who is doing the halftime
Hopefully not
show?
Kendrick.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they could get, Diddy's right there.
He's literally right there.
Put him in the
Pull him over
NYPD.
next door.
Yeah, put him in the NYPD big old bus.
Oh, my God.
That
Yeah, but
is
it's Boston trash, so you're going to do like Mark Wahlberg in the Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Okay, if Mark Wahlberg comes back as Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch,
Yeah.
then that's fine.
Good vibration.
They could also put him under oath while he beat that Asian dude because he was Asian.
They should do that.
They should do
Who
that.
knows?
Blinded a man in one eye for being Korean.
That's insane.
Yeah, but we all forgot about it. He's in Transformers and he's in funny movies with Will Ferrell
It
now.
passed the statute of limitations, so it doesn't count anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever wave at the people when you see them in the prison bus?
Yeah.
When you pass them on the highway?
Yeah.
You ever wonder what's going on in there?
Well, one time I was walking to work like at 6 a.m. in New York City, and then that van had just dropped off a bunch of prisoners outside of a Yankee Stadium. And
Cleaning it.
yeah, well, they came from upstate, and then they just came down the metro, like the van, and then dropped them off like first stop in the city, Yankee Stadium. They just dropped them off there, and they're like, "Welcome to being free. Have at it."
Oh, this was their first day of freedom.
Yeah, like the van was opening. They were being released out of prison from upstate. And I saw them and we were all walking to the same Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, that's why the Yankees always get the best players. They get ex-cons.
Well,
Yeah, probably.
Boston fan speaking, going to Yankee Stadium is still a punishment. So
yeah.
they're not out of prison yet.
Oh,
Okay.
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 Wow.
So Karen Reed, huh?
Let's talk
Oh,
about
right,
Karen Reed.
Yeah.
So we're now halfway officially through the trial, and another swing and a miss for the Commonwealth. They brought in a new doctor who was a neurosurgeon, and they were talking about John O'Keefe's injuries and how they could have affected his brain and his capacity to walk, and if it's what really caused him to die.
Right.
Okay.
And so, the Commonwealth thinks they're killing it with this guy. And all of a sudden, Bob Alessi, who is the best defense lawyer that they have, him and Alan Jackson are just incredible.
Dude's name is Bob Alessi.
Yeah. And he is
Sounds,
such a nerd. And he just
away
goes
from-
after people who claim to be nerds. And he knows way more than them. It's incredible.
Okay, Bob Alessi.
Yeah. So this guy was like, okay, so you work with brains, huh? And the doctor's like, yeah. And he's like, but are you a forensic neurosurgeon? And he's like, no. Which
Uh-oh.
means
So
he's not
he needs-
qualified to talk
yeah.
about fucking deadly injuries.
Yeah.
So he just works with brains?
Yes.
Works with the live ones.
Yeah.
You can't talk about the dead ones.
Yeah, exactly. He's talking about, dealing with people who have like brain tumors and stuff all day.
Okay.
And
Well, that's the wrong kind of brain guy.
yeah, exactly. So they were saying,
Wow, they're splitting hairs with that, but I love that.
is it fair to say that all of your patients are alive?
Oh,
And he goes, yeah.
So why'd the Commonwealth, as they like to say, why'd they call him in?
Oh, because they have to get from the bottom of the barrel. This guy has like a 40% recommendation rate from his own patients and customers.
That's
Wow.
not good.
They had to source him from like Florida. They also got this other guy. His name is Shannon, a man named Shannon.
That's all right. Shannon Moon?
I dated a guy named Shannon once.
Shannon Hoon,
Shannon Hoon?
who that keeps
was
getting
not.
requested on Death and Entertainment. We'll get him on there soon.
All right. How was your boyfriend, Shannon?
He was not great.
Not great. All right. There
We're
we
not
go.
together anymore.
This
Fantastic.
guy isn't great either.
All
so
right.
he lied about his college degree. He doesn't have one, and on his website, in real time, his CV got taken down and his qualifications got taken down and then re-uploaded. And in real time, while he was on the stand, they put a huge watermark over his resume that said, not designated for expert opinions.
Oh.
And he's acting as the Commonwealth expert.
All
So
right.
he lost his career on the stand.
I was watching a little bit of Court TV. That stands for Court Television.
Oh.
Yeah. And I know what I'm talking about. And they
Yeah.
were saying that someone was on that stand. And they were saying, and this was an air quotes expert, that the contusions to the back of the head and the raccoon eyes, as they say, were consistent with somebody getting hit by a car and banging the back of his head.
No, it's not getting hit by a car. It's banging the back of your head.
Yeah, it's banging the back of your head, not getting hit by a car.
Well-
he fell down on the ground and he cracked the back of his head.
Yes.
And that makes sense because he could have done that indoors and or outdoors.
They also said that there was some fragments from a red light that could have been her blinker.
Yeah,
It's
but they were
bullshit,
just
though.
but they were just like a little bit of fragments.
Little bit of fragment.
It didn't take it wasn't like they found the entire blinker there. Where they found most of the pieces of the blinker was right outside of John O'Keefe's house where she actually hit her car. She backed
Yes.
it into his car at the garage.
Now, what about this theory I post? Propose?
Propose it.
What if he fell?
Well, he did when he got punched by the fucking people inside the house.
There it is.
Because there was someone that said, why doesn't the defense ever say that he just fell and it was an accident? Because then the jury could be like, all right, the Boston Police Department isn't corrupt, because you know how people are.
Yeah.
They never want to admit the truth because then it destabilizes their entire life. And if you can't trust the police, then you can't trust the Catholic Church. And then can you even trust your own mother?
You can't
even
trust nobody.
Trust your own butthole.
So what if the defense was also just like, all right, maybe the Boston PD didn't kill him, Karen Reed didn't kill him, maybe this dumb motherfucker just fell because he was hammered.
It's possible. But
Why not
They
just
could-
use it as a defense?
They
of
could
the
use
juror?
that as a defense, but they don't even want to look that guilty.
Yeah.
They don't want to
Right.
be anywhere near it. They're like, no, we have nothing to do with any of his injuries. We don't even have a dog.
yeah.
We don't even have a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, there were four other people's blood on him that they haven't tested to see who that is.
Yeah, if you test any random person, you're going to find 4 or 5 people's bloods.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. So now it's time for the defense, the second half of the trial. The first, 9 weeks it's been going on?
It's been 6, I think. Yeah.
6 weeks. So now the second half of this trial will all be defense for Karen Reed. So a lot of cross-examination, and I think this is where we're going to get some Matlock moments.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. We've already had a bunch, but it's fucking amazing.
And it will be quite exciting.
Yeah.
She seems very confident. I mean, granted, you have to, I'm sure she's like living in hell.
Yeah.
But it seems like the defense team is quite confident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Corrupt Canoni had to come out and say, I need to talk to every one of the jurors individually because I've heard some very disturbing things and I need to set you guys straight on some things.
What?
'Cause people
Is he
were
allowed
making-
to do that?
No, she's a fucking psychopath.
Well, this story happened. I watched an entire 45 minutes on this.
Nice.
I think I know what I'm talking about. And I was only slightly stoned, mostly cuddling my dog. But she called in every juror individually because somebody in the jury pool was blabbing, or maybe they were looking on social media. Something happened, right? Where she called in every juror and was just like, just to remind you, this is a big case. Don't fuck it up for everybody, basically,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But there's no indication of what the jurors were kind of being reprimanded for or reminded of.
Right.
So that's sort of interesting. I think basically the state, if this goes to another mistrial, the state's going to have a lot of egg on their face. I think everyone wants a decision.
The day they
Yeah,
went,
definitely.
The day they went into deliberations for the first trial, they took one of the people off the jury who was definitely a not guilty verdict person, because they could tell by the way she was making faces and stuff. And that's the
Well,
rumor.
you're not allowed to make faces as a juror?
That's the rumor for this one, is that she told everybody to stop making faces when the Commonwealth is presenting their case.
Stop having a face?
Yes, stop having
have a face.
Don't use your face.
I mean, say what you want about Bostonians, but they're an emotional people.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
I mean, it's like like
Extremely.
the emotions when they show them, it's like way too late. Right?
Yeah.
Like they should have like showed that at step 1. They show you step 12.
Yep.
And next thing, you're getting hit by a car, beaten up by a bunch of cops.
Yeah.
You know.
You know.
That's Boston's emotions.
Yeah.
That's because that's emotions. But it does seem like the jurors are going to they should be allowed to fucking show their facial expressions.
And it sounds like whatever they're doing is probably a lot more muted than everyday Bostonian life anyway.
They can't scream.
Yeah.
They can't yell about chowder.
Yeah, they'd be like, for fuck's sake.
Also, Kyle, now that we brought up the accent, why don't we do, I do think it's Yoga Friday as well.
Oh,
Should be Yoga
So
Friday.
maybe, and I think, Kyle, you need some yoga. Everyone needs to relax their minds for a
Everyone
second.
just relax your mind, clear your mind. Have
your
everyone,
mantras.
have everyone take some inhales, some exhales.
yeah.
Do you have any yoga phrases you like to go through?
Everybody hang your heads down, close your eyes,
There we go.
like your dad does when he's fucking hammered.
Wow.
Nice. My dad never drank,
Wow.
but I was like,
Your dad didn't drink?
no, he never did.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
lucky you.
Cool.
I guess so.
It's like a Bostonian without a face.
That's it?
Dad that doesn't drink.
You're just going to have us lay our heads down without and close our eyes?
And then hit us with the Yucatasana, the lightning god.
A lightning.
May we all pray.
That's not. Wait.
Now I'm mixing it with church.
Yeah, now you're mixing
now
it with
you're just a-
Catholicism. Which actually sounds right for a Bostonian. I could totally
Of
see them
course.
starting to fucking pray in the middle of yoga.
They're very Catholic.
Yeah.
Mostly
Yeah.
for financial reasons. All right. So Karen Reed is going to continue. The trial is going to continue, and we will keep you updated. So that's basically the biggest news.
Yes.
All right, there we go. Let's stay in criminal justice, and let's talk about jail flings. A prison officer is accused of having sex with 2 inmates at the same time.
Ooh,
It's-
escándalo. It's a prison guard? Is it a woman, a man?
Her name is
I knew it.
Her name is Isabella Dale.
Isabella, you dog.
Yep. She's accused of plotting to smuggle in some drugs. This is not in America.
That's her?
Yeah.
Yep.
She's cute.
She's all hot and stuff.
She's allowed to. You shouldn't be allowed to be a security guard like that.
You know, people need money.
It's true.
Well, she doesn't dress like that
They
in there.
can't. They can't discriminate against her beautiful face.
No, you can't. And sometimes it's fun when there's like a super hot arresting officer.
Yeah,
And it's like,
yeah.
but then you realize like the jail sentence isn't sexy. You can't put tits on that. And then
No.
you realize they have all the power and stuff. And then
Yeah.
it's not so fun anymore.
Yeah.
I was arrested by 2 real ugly dudes, so I felt good about that.
You felt good about that?
Yeah, kind of.
You were like, oh, at least you're not hot.
yeah, just
it would've made it a lot worse.
Slobs.
It would have made it worse if they were hot.
Yeah, because then it's more embarrassing. You know, when you're getting perp walked by 2 fat cops, everyone's like, oink, oink, piggy, piggy. But if
Wow.
you're getting perp walked by a real hot chick, everyone's like, what'd you do, asshole?
That's true. That makes sense. It's weird how you have that analogy right off the top of your head, huh?
Yeah. I got perp walked through the C line on 8th Avenue.
Oh, wow.
After I was playing the Toxic Avenger, because I helped this little fucker named Frankie through a turnstile. I had an open container violation from 5 years ago, and I had a bench warrant I didn't know about. He got off, and I had to spend 24 hours in the goddamn tombs.
And I've got like 3 parking tickets right now. It's
Yeah.
just killing me.
Be careful.
Killing
Apparently,
me.
in New York, if you didn't pay a fine, you got a bench warrant immediately. They
Oh
stopped-
my God,
Yeah,
for
they
real?
stopped it. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
They stopped it because cops were like, "Why are we doing all of this?" And then I didn't harass them in the back
You
seat.
supposed to say that you harassed him in the
No,
back
I
seat.
asked them a bunch of questions about what it's like to be in law enforcement. And then they were
So they would
You-
like me?
You gave him an involuntary interview.
yeah, and then they were like, "Can you shut up?" And then I was like, "Oh, well, fine. You guys want to be hard cops? You want to be bad cops?"
Oh, we're the good guys.
So, a prison officer, she's in court now. She had sexual relations with 2 inmates at the same time in Swaleside in Kent.
Where did she do it?
Swaleside.
That sounds like an animal.
Yeah, it's one of those European towns, so
Gotcha.
you never know what it's about.
Okay.
So she's a 23-year-old, and again, she is very, very attractive. She had a relationship with Connor Money.
Whoa.
Another great drag name.
The dude's name is Connor Money.
Wow.
What a stud.
The Connor of money.
But that's
On
him.
her money.
Yeah, that's true. That's the picture of him though. So he looks sort of like when he says money, it's sort of like nickels and dimes. He's not exactly a $10 bill.
Both of these
Yeah.
guys have jug handle ears.
Okay,
Big time.
they both look like Hollywood celebrity male stars, and like what people are trying to convince us is hot right now. That little ratty face, with the tiny little nose and the tiny little mouth, but cheekbones for days.
That
look
is
like-
true.
They look like their heads whistle when the wind
He looks
blows.
like the guy from The Bear.
A little bit. He really does.
That's literally what's in right now. That's Timothy Chalamet with a tattooed neck.
That is Shahid Sharif, who is I can see him. He's a sexy boy.
Yeah,
He looks like Max Landis.
He's better looking than Timothy Chalamet.
Well, he's got a good hairline. Again, he's got big ears.
Got a little danger about him.
He's got one of those mustaches that doesn't grow, so you know you can't trust him.
A record.
Definitely a record.
Yeah.
So she went to jail, and she was like, yeah, I'm a prison guard, but I'm also here to fuck. So she ended up, who is that guy?
John Landis' son, Max Landis.
Yeah, that guy's way hotter than that.
He is more attractive than Max Landis.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like.
I'm sorry, man. I'm
didn't
sorry
have-
for you, Max Landis.
I didn't have Max Landis as a celebrity on the top of my dome because I don't think he is a celebrity.
Yeah, I literally have no idea who that is.
He like rage messaged us one time.
Max
Oh.
For
Landis?
talking about John Landis on the podcast. It's like people just harassed my father because he killed 3 people.
He didn't kill 3 people.
He
A
killed
helico-
3 people,
he
2
said
children.
A
how do you
helicopter
do
fell
that?
on 2 kids while he was filming.
Yeah.
Oh, that one.
was during the
Yes.
Twilight Zone, the movie.
The Twilight Zone movie.
Twilight Zone movie.
Epic.
Not great, but
Not the worst.
it was a mistake.
sad.
So
Don't say steak.
this 23-year-old gal, she goes into work and she's all ready to get it. And then she gets it from Connor Money. And he was jailed for 9 years because he was driving 140 miles in a car, right?
Wow,
Which is pretty
he's
cool.
so fast.
Not
Was
even
it a
kilometers.
Sports car.
Yeah, it was probably a sports car because he's real cool.
Wow.
And then he killed a dad.
Wow.
Yeah, because he hit him with a car. So that's why he got 9 years, because he was going 140 miles an hour, being like, I'm pretty cool. My name is Connor Money. Also, yeah, you have to drive fast when your name is Connor Money, so that's sort of
Yeah.
on brand, and I don't blame him for that.
Okay.
But you can't hit a
you could
car.
probably
and kill-
blame him for the word money in his name.
No, that's a birth name. It comes
How
from
do
a
you
long
know
line
that?
of money.
How do you know that?
Because that's what last names are.
No, he could just have it changed.
I'm looking at him. He didn't go through the court system to figure this out. He is a very lazy
could've.
man. So he was going 140 miles an hour, and which is, again, when you're Connor Money, that's how fast you go. But you have to be good enough not to hit another car and then kill a father.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
That's his number one goal, is to don't do that.
His number one goal, it did fail.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
So then he went to jail, and then it turns out he's been banging this chick from September 2021 to the end of 2022.
Damn.
So a long time.
Yeah.
That's actually a long relationship.
They've been doing it. Yeah.
That's longer than any relationship I've ever had.
Damn.
So then Dale, but that's Isabella Dale, not to be
Okay,
confused.
yeah.
Because if he was just banging prison guard Dale,
No one would have cared.
that's a whole nother thing.
It's a whole other story.
By the way, small update on Joe Exotic. I'm going to squeeze it in here.
Oh, yes. What happened to his husband? He
Wow.
reported back to Mexico?
Joe Exotic is crying.
Really?
Yeah, Joe Exotic is super sad.
He's a big old crybaby, that one. He's always been very sensitive.
He's very sensitive, and that's why Carol Baskin took advantage of his sensitivity.
Yeah.
But Jorge, I believe it was Jorge is his husband's name. He has been sending him many letters,
Really?
and they've been corresponding. So it seems like the love might be real.
Wow.
And Joe is crying, and he says, Joe says, because he does want his partner to live a good life. So Joe says, I'm happy he's out of here,
Yeah.
but I miss him every day.
Aw.
Isn't that sad? But that is good consensual inmate anal.
Yeah, for
Right?
sure. Yeah,
And
yeah.
what Isabella Dale is doing, although it doesn't sound bad, is technically not consensual because
He's a prisoner.
and they can't consent. So Dale appeared in the Southwark Crown Court, and she was charged with 2 counts of misconduct
Yeah, she was.
in public office. Both counts, she is accused of an inappropriate sexual relationship with, quote, a service prisoner.
Service.
What is a cert?
He was.
Okay, it
He was
sounds
getting
like he was
served.
there for that.
Yeah.
That sounds like he's there to fuck everyone.
Serve dick.
Yeah.
Serve
this booty.
Serve this cock and balls. Mm-hmm. Does any woman like the balls more than the cock?
None whatsoever.
I don't think anyone likes them more.
I think there's probably some girls out there with a weird fetish about it, but none in my orbit.
I feel like it's ladies who really like to know what's going on with the baby maker.
Mm-hmm.
You think so?
The balls are the factory of the entire thing.
Well, what if they like to step on them?
Oh my God! Well, I've told you that story before.
Yeah.
I'll show you a video too.
I don't.
No thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy who comes from South Dakota works with my buddy who works at the Hustler Club. She stomps on his nuts till he bleeds till he pisses blood.
Yes.
bleeds piss.
Yes.
If he doesn't bleed out of the tip of his dick, he won't pay her, but he does have to pay her no matter what. You know how that works.
Fun.
So,
Good old fun.
she's also charged with conspiracy to throw or convey drugs. So no,
Convey drugs?
Yeah, she's gonna convey them.
How does one convey drugs?
Hell, if I know what that means. It's kind of European, you know.
Yeah.
They got words that don't make any sense and stuff. But she also had an alleged accomplice named Lily Salas. They've also
Lily
been
Salads?
Lily Salas.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm assuming Lilia is a lady's name. They've also been charged with helping Dale smuggle the drugs in to Sharif. So Sharif is playing them all.
Wow.
This is a hell of a story.
How did she smuggle them?
Well, you can only imagine how that, although she's being the prison guard, you can probably just sneak it in your purse.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think they pat you down that much.
You probably have to do like an easy little walkthrough. Like when you're going to a concert and they're like, I gotta look in your bag, and then they look in it and they're like, oh, you're good. But
Yeah,
you
but
didn't
then-
actually look at it.
They make sure there's a gun in there so you can shoot up a couple of people. Otherwise,
Yeah.
is it even a concert?
Right.
If nobody dies, is it a concert?
Not in 2025.
So one of Dale's alleged lovers, Sharif, he is also accused of conspiring to have drugs smuggled in, and then he also wants a mobile phone. So he wants one of those mobile phones.
Butt phone.
He wants to be online.
But now Money, the guy who killed the father while driving all fast, he's not facing any charges at all. Because Dale described herself as a seasoned prison officer with 2 years experience. She also has a degree in criminology, and apparently they are saying that Mr. Money, he may be the victim of all of this because he couldn't resist the sweet poontang of that prison officer.
Boom, boom.
We've said it before. Prisoners cannot consent.
We've said it before. I just said it.
Yeah.
It's 4.5 minutes ago.
That's right.
Because and they can't consent because since they're in prison and
They have
then
no rights.
they have no rights, and then this girl's like the only option, and it's like, well, I didn't choose you. You're just like here, so like we're gonna do it, but like
Pretty good option, though. Pretty good
yeah,
option.
honestly, not a bad. You kind of hit the lottery with that option,
Yep. She'll get one of those OnlyFans or something.
dude. She already has one.
Maybe, although Europe is strangely strict on OnlyFans.
Really?
Yeah, I believe it was in Sweden. They have a new law that if you do OnlyFans, it's like really bad for you. Sweden's parliament passed this past Tuesday. It prohibits any sexual acts being purchased online.
Really?
They say it's prostitution.
But the challenge of fucking 583 to 1,000 guys in one day, totally fine.
Yeah, when your uterus is popping out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is totally. I guess if they don't pay.
As long as they don't charge for it.
Also, I just found out Riley Reid, a very successful porn star who is now an elder in the business at 32 years
Wow.
old.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Oh my God.
Well, it's just like pro athletes.
Elder statesman.
I hate it so much.
It just, well, no, normal people, that is not old. But porn or, basketball, that's old. You're
Yeah.
getting up there,
Yeah.
right? But apparently she has only had sex with like 980 people.
Only?
That's it. I
Loser.
sent that Instagram, and I said she's basically a virgin.
Yeah.
Because these porn stars now are banging 1,000 a day.
I mean, they're dedicated.
But yes, this is an interesting thing about Europe that not a lot of people realize. It can be slightly puritanical. So under this new law, it's illegal to offer compensation to any person to perform sexual activity online.
That's messed up.
Isn't that stupid?
Yeah. Wow.
Isn't Sweden also the place where you can go kill a family of 8 and then they put you in a really nice hotel for 10 years?
They put
give
you
you
in
an
a fucking
apartment.
condo, dude. The
So-
nicest places ever, better than what I'm living in currently.
Yeah. So, however, the law, it does allow users to watch pre-recorded sexual material
This is what's happening now. What?
or live streams, but they can't give any money. And they also can't request the live stream.
For the love of the game.
So they have to just turn, yeah.
Wow.
For the love of the game. Why are they, I feel like they're demonizing a whole workforce
They really are.
in the OnlyFans gals. And some men.
And they're also hurting their own economy.
Thank you, Sweden.
Yeah.
According to IT news agency, they say this is about digitalized prostitution. I can't wait. We're going to hear Ted Cruz say that in a second.
Digitalized prostitution. It makes me feel like it's like people made out of those like analogs, like in the really old alarm clocks.
That would be kind of fun.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, maybe just pixelated fucking.
Exactly.
It's kind of like when you watch Asian porn.
I
They
was
show
just going to say that. Yeah, hentai, but it's all censored.
it's all censored, and for some reason in Asian porn they don't show the male genitalia.
Yeah, which is really strange because it's like, it's a cartoon. What are
Yeah.
you censoring?
Well,
Why are
not
you
much.
censoring? Wow.
And in Japan, they'll even turn blood not red. They'll make it white, and then it just looks like cum.
IT news agency.
Anyway.
They said this. They said this is digitalized prostitution, where the boundaries between pornography and human trafficking are blurred, but where exploitation and abuse are present. So this is what they do, right? They always pretend like they're doing this for the greater good. They're always like, no, this is against human trafficking, but they always punish the human beings that are actually in need of these.
That want the work.
Exactly, in need of the job.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we're doing this for your own safety. It's like, no, just let me fucking, if I want to show my asshole in my basement and some dude's giving me $50 per fart, let me have my money.
Honestly, make your paper, boo-boo.
Exactly. And they're only attacking OnlyFans right now because obviously that's the most famous company out there exploring sexuality. It has hundreds of millions of users, and the top earners are making millions. I think this is 100% jealousy.
Yeah.
Because you hear people all the time online, like when you read the comments from like a sex gal or even a guy, whatever. But I like sex gals better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like to treat Rebecca.
Just
sex
better
gals.
though, because sometimes you just gotta go for the other option.
Well, as I
You
said,
just gotta know what you feel is safe.
I didn't like the blurry dick because it's like what is happening because the dick ends up in the vagina and then they're both blurry and then the whole thing's a mess.
Or they'll turn the penis into a tentacle so that they don't have to
Right.
blur it out. And then they'll be like, look, it's just a tentacle.
It's just even more disgusting because now she's fucking a squid.
Yeah.
Kyle, you're looking at anime porn there?
No, I'm looking at anime. It's just an anime, and they changed the blood. It was too graphic when it was red, and they turned it white, thinking it'd be better.
It
but
does
there's a dead guy and a dead child, and it looks like they're both covered in jizz.
Yeah, it does.
Does.
It does, yeah.
Well, milk.
I didn't know
Or milk, yeah,
I didn't know we
sure.
were talking about the Diddy trial today.
Hey!
Ayo.
So they said it is now going to be banned because why should they be making more money than me when I'm working 9 to 5 over my Kroger's and now all of a sudden this chick shows her labia and she's making a bunch of money, or this guy shows his penis head that isn't circumcised and he's making extra money with the uncircumcised community.
Well, because they have to go through a lot to do that.
Exactly.
Go
I
through
don't
a
care.
lot. They have a lot. They're gonna have family members that dead them, people that don't
Yep.
want to talk to them, jobs that they can't do. So yeah, everything comes with the price.
Yeah.
Say what you want about America, but they do. I do think America is. I mean, yeah, we're all corporate whores, and capitalism is what it is. It's run amok. But one of the benefits is you got to. If you're making money, for the most part, people will be like, do whatever you got to do
Yeah.
because we have to. So a spokesperson for OnlyFans, they say that the company complies with all the laws and regulations, and they don't understand what the heck is going on. Also, you know what other country is banning porn? OnlyFans is Turkey.
Oh.
What?
As if the Turkish aren't suffering enough.
I know. That's not nice.
Yeah, so it's all these stupid ass countries, and they're all banning Pornhub, and
They're just gonna make them turn into a
OnlyFans.
bunch of swingers anyway.
And then we're doing that in this country as well. There was a recent ban on Pornhub, and a mom just sued Pornhub for $75,000 because her 14-year-old son logged onto the computer, and then she was all mad that he saw boobs, and then she's suing, and then now she's suing Pornhub and its parent company for $75,000 because that'll erase the image of boobs from her son's head.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's what that's gonna do.
Yep.
That's just her throwing a temper tantrum against the entire country.
I don't know. I'm just not. Also, they only ban Pornhub. You can go to, there's like millions of websites.
So dumb.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to, we have 3 stories Three stories involving cops being goofy.
A 3.
There's straight up goof 'em ups by police officers. And, this isn't one of those shows where we just, blatantly say things about police officers because it is a hard job. But sometimes they're really stupid. Mm-hmm. And they really do stupid things.
And we don't just say that.
No. And in this case, cops have managed to arrest the wrong guy at a funeral.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
So he arrested the dude that was dead?
So no.
That would be the real wrong
That would
guy.
have been hilarious. He's like, I'm sorry, I got to take him. I got to take him away.
Well, he already served his time, didn't he? Mm-hmm. So North Carolina cops, they went to a funeral because they were like, ooh, there's a perp at this funeral, and we know where he is. So then they used, quote, excessive force to arrest an innocent man because of his mistaken identity.
Wow.
So they went to the funeral and they arrested this dude. Now, to Kyle's point, the guy is seen here getting in the back of a squad car.
Yeah.
He is wearing what used to be called a wife beater, and now I think they're just called, what are they called?
A-shirts.
A-shirts?
Yeah.
What?
That's the technical term for them, A-shirts.
A-shirts?
They're beaters.
Well, it looks like he needs to go to a store and get new clothes.
I'm done.
Yeah, he's got gym shorts on. He should have been arrested for his fashion sense.
For his fashion
he
sense.
dressed like that to the funeral?
Fashion police.
He didn't like that person very much.
It was the victim's brother. So the victim was attacked.
Wow.
That was
And
the
that's how he showed up to the funeral?
It's like he showed up to sneak in to make sure he was dead.
Yeah, seriously.
That's it. So the victim was attending his brother's funeral, Cabin Smith in North Carolina. That's when Lee County Sheriff's Office stormed the event, believing that this dude was guilty of the murder of Rodney Cotton, and that murder took place in 1995.
Yeah, I think that's about, that's about when the last name Cotton phased itself out.
Yeah, maybe he changed his name to Money, baby.
Yeah.
So the cops were like, you killed this guy in 1995. And then the guy was like, I didn't kill the guy in 1995. Also, looking at the picture of him, he doesn't look that old.
No.
So I don't even know. Maybe he was like a toddler or something. And then Lee County Sheriff Office, they were like, oh, dang it, we got the wrong guy. So they said there was a lot of confusion, hostility, and deception. Because the cops were like, hey, we're here to arrest this guy. And everyone's like, it's a funeral. And they're like, don't you get in our way.
Have some respect, guys.
Oh, yeah,
What the heck
honestly.
is that?
I feel like he's not really underdressed. There's a lot of dead friend t-shirts in there.
Yeah, I mean, dress as you are every day.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. I'm dead if my funeral. No need to wear suits or ties. I mean, no one's gonna show up anyway.
You guys better dress to the fucking nines to my funeral. I would be so upset if you don't wear a button-down shirt and a collar.
I'm wearing a dead friend t-shirt.
I
I'm gonna
will.
wear a button down. I'll wear a button
Acceptable.
down shirt for you.
Yeah.
I have like fake wings on
But
your back.
I'm gonna have tearaway pants.
I'm gonna haunt you for the rest of your days. And I'm gonna give you a bunch of macaroni and cheese boxes, but I'm gonna take out all the powder.
Don't you fucking even joke about that. You know I just like mac and cheese for the powder.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear tearaway pants and then hop on the casket and be like, one last hump, and everyone would be like, ooh, do you think? And then I'll be like, that's right. So, Cabin Smith, he died May 7th, and he's survived by 5 brothers and his mom, right? And then law enforcement claimed they had multiple separate sources. So they had multiple separate sources. So that's a lot of different sources. And they said, the guy who killed this guy in 1995, he's there. And then the cops were like, oh, shit. But the cops eventually freed the guy, and they did realize they made a mistake.
And caused all of that ruckus.
And caused a ruckus at a fucking funeral.
For nothing.
Which everyone knows the only people that are allowed to cause ruckus at funerals are the nieces and nephews and the one drug dealer that is still owed money.
Wow, I really thought you were going to go with mom, grandma. No, the drug dealer that owes his money.
Yes, because just because he's dead doesn't mean the debt's gone.
IRS.
IRS. Right. So police said one male suspect was transported back to Lee County, where a series of steps were taken to identify and confirm the identity of the individual detained, right? And then they say Lee County investigators were able to determine that that the individual was the brother of Willard Eugene Smith. That individual was released and taken back to his residence by the officers. So they gave him a ride home.
Well, that's good.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, so nice.
Yep. But the office, they say, we're still encouraging anyone to tell us about the murder of Rodney Cotton. So this, I don't
Wait,
know.
so did they get the name wrong or what? Like, why did they just think this guy? And then they were like, oh, wait, it's not you.
I don't even know.
It
I
makes
don't
no
know. This is a
sense.
Yeah.
this is a 30-year-old cold case.
Yeah, seriously.
And I'm not saying that they shouldn't figure it out, but also like this is
Oh, they were fucking with him?
what do you mean?
They
No, I
they
think
knew it wasn't him.
I think that they thought it was him. I think so. I would hope so, but I don't know why the murder of Rodney Cotton is like on their like I don't know why they're thinking about it so much. Not that they shouldn't. I'm just saying why.
Yeah.
Maybe someone dropped a tip. I was like, remember that 30-year-old case? Pretty sure I'm looking right fucking at him.
And of course, in the case of Rodney Cotton, once you drop a Q-tip. With the persistence of our citizens and dedication of our deputies, this is what they say. We intend to bring closure to the victim's family, and they are committed to the pursuit of justice. So I guess that's good. They're going to find the guy who killed Cotton.
Okay.
And of the sheriff, Brian Estes, he did give a formal public apology. Which is honestly more than they usually get.
Honestly, yeah, that's really good of him. They
Yeah.
don't usually do shit like that. They're like, yeah, you're welcome. We almost took a crook off the street. Boo
Almost.
fucking who.
All right. Well, let's move on to one more story where I think cops were a bit out of line and slightly excessive.
That's nothing like them at all.
A University of Buffalo graduate. He was chased off stage while receiving his diploma by police.
University at Buffalo.
Yes,
This
exactly.
was the school we were talking about.
In when?
In when?
John Walsh.
Oh, that's right. And he went with a bunch of people that were like actors.
Wolf
now?
Blitzer.
Like Wolf.
Janine Pirro.
Yes.
And what did they do there?
Things.
They did things.
Politicking.
University of Buffalo is a busy, busy place, and apparently people graduate from there.
Yeah.
And one of the people that graduated, he said he wants to graduate while holding his beautiful infant son. And he says the school gave him an A-OK to do so. But apparently the police didn't get word of this.
Oh my God.
So he walked on stage past a couple
Are
of
you
officers.
fucking kidding me?
With his baby in tow, because this is a very proud moment. His name is Jean-Paul Al-Arab, and he promised to walk with his son to get his diploma. Well, it turns out the cops ended up arresting him, handcuffing him, and saying that was illegal to do.
That's bullshit.
So he was
fucking cops just they're bored or something. Why are they doing this?
I have no idea. Ironically, this guy is getting a degree in criminology. So he wants to be a cop. And he ran on the stage when his last name was called and took the spotlight with his beautiful little son.
So adorable.
He says, I ran. That's what I did. I had to. I promised him I was going to walk with him on the stage. And then cops were like, not on my watch.
Why not?
Because they're real mean. And then he was immediately met with several officers. He was handcuffed. And then the crowd just started booing like it was a WWE event.
Well, yeah.
"Oh,
Suck.
you suck, you suck, you suck." And then the cops uncuffed him and let him go.
Wow.
Because they were like, never mind. We're not being real cool.
Man, the court of public opinion is gonna kick my ass.
Did they think it was like the most public kidnapping that they were going to solve?
right? Like, what did they think that it was?
Apparently, you're not allowed to have any packages for security reasons when receiving your diploma.
Packages.
Packaging.
That's what you're not allowed to have a baby, a gun.
Oh, my.
Nothing
because
fun.
the baby could be explosive
You never know.
in more ways than one.
Well, they could bite you. They're very
could
sharp
start
teeth.
crying. Could shat themselves.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is what he shared on TikTok, El Arab. He says, during a prep class for commencement, I asked, can I walk with my baby? And they said, oh, yeah, that's fine. But when the time came, they tried to stop me and even called the police. They tried to escort me out. But honestly, the only reason they let me go was because all of you cheered and supported me. So there's a picture with him and his little baby boy.
Oh, that baby's so cute.
Yeah, he's adorable.
And if you're one of these police officers, like, what do you do at night? Do you go home and be like, another great day on the beat? I managed to stop a man graduating college with his beautiful son. He's
Right.
going to be your coworker at some point if he got his degree in criminology.
He's gonna be your fucking boss.
Exactly. But the university says commencement rules are in place for safety. And then they say it ensures that every graduate is treated equally. So not every graduate had a kid. So you can't.
What?
I mean, it's Buffalo, so probably like half of them dead.
And that's just not fair.
It's not. No, this isn't fair. Why does he get to walk with his baby? I don't have a baby to walk with.
Yeah.
I think it's Japan where you get to wear whatever you want when you graduate, and people dress up as Pokemon and funny shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Fun.
That's so cool. You should look up some pictures. God, I want to see that. Mm-hmm. I want to see the stuff. If I were to graduate and I didn't have to wear a uniform, I would wear Frank the Rabbit.
Oh, you love Frank the Rabbit.
Yeah,
Donnie Darko?
Yeah, I think he's got a cool face, cool smile. A bunch of silver shit oozes out of him, especially when I'm on shrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Kyoto University in Japan.
And
They have a unique tradition where students are allowed to wear whatever costumes of their choice they want during the graduation ceremony.
That's so cute.
Yeah, it is cute. Let's look at
Everyone
some.
would have a ton of fun looking at everyone's outfits.
Oh
my God, it's so colorful.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Are those Teletubbies?
This person's dressed as a samurai,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
Aw.
This person's dressed like some kind of balloon character. Her dress is made of balloons.
Whoa.
Yes.
Literally made of balloons.
This person's dressed as a big bird.
And it's so plain.
That's up to them. Yeah, that's up to them.
You got Thomas the Train Engine.
So yeah,
Oh, that's what I thought.
the world where
Those are terrifying.
Yeah,
oh
that's
my
pretty scary.
God.
those are scary. Kyoto, Japan, more freedom than Buffalo, New York.
Wow.
Who would have thunk?
What in the heck is going on in America?
Capitalism.
Come on, Buffalo. I'm not sure if capitalism is the problem there, but we don't know. All right, lastly, love. We always talk about love. Oh, shit, I don't think I did a hero of the week this week, or butt of the week this week.
You did not.
Are you sure?
And the chat just brought that up as you
Did
said
they
that.
really?
They're like, wait, no butt of the week?
Butt of the week is salted.
It's not. No. Please
It's
don't-
Coyote University's graduation ceremonies.
I kind of am down with that.
Fine.
Butt of the week is Coyote
wearing-
University.
This person dresses the mask and it looks terrifying.
Kyoto, Japan graduation ceremony. Your butt of the week. Oh, jeez. Just, oh, my God. I got flop sweat.
Yeah. I can smell it.
Slacking.
I know. I got to shower. I haven't showered this week.
What?
I don't know what's going on. Anyway, just lastly, a New York man. It's very interesting. He's dating this chick, right? But he's real upset that this chick has an ex-boyfriend, and he doesn't want that ex-boyfriend to be alive. So he tried to hire a hitman to kill his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend. And do you know what he offered the hitman? $1,000 and a full bottle of wild turkey.
Wow.
A full bottle? He didn't even take a sip out of it?
No, he didn't even take a sip out of it.
That's so cool of him.
And why did he do that? It's because the person that he wanted to hire as a hitman was a pig farmer, and he was like, "You're a pig farmer. You have no class. Here's $1,000 and some wild turkey, even though it should have been wild piggy." And then they say the person that they hired, they say that they were asked to feed the ex-boyfriend to the pigs, which is the best way to get rid of a body.
Wow.
Yes,
It is?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they eat the bones
They
and
eat
everything. The
bones.
teeth.
They don't give a
My
fuck. Yeah.
God.
No, pigs are brutal.
That shit's gone.
Brutal. So, the hitman and the farmer, they were working for the feds. So there you go. Jill Sutherland pleaded guilty last week to use of interstate commerce facilities in a commission for a murder for hire after a hitman he hired turned out to be an informant
Wow.
for the Department of Justice.
A shame.
Well, there's a dark web website that's hireahitman.com or something, or .onion, whatever they are. And it's just a guy that sends it to the police.
Of course. And so Sutherland, he wanted to kill his boyfriend or his girlfriend's ex, but she's got a kid with him. Oh. So isn't that wrong? Mm-hmm. And then he wanted his body murdered, and he wanted it to be disposed of in the pig farm.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
Yep. So there you go. He left a menacing note. Shortly after the man returned home, Sutherland sent him a menacing note stuffed into the mouth of a dead goose.
What?
Yeah, he said, he wrote a note that says, "I hate you, you dickhead." And then he put it inside of a dead goose.
Wow.
And then he gave it to the person.
He gave the dead goose to the person.
But the goose was just it was a carrier for the letter.
The goose was loose.
The goose was loose. I'll give you a goosey loosey. A loosey goosey.
Juicy.
Don't.
Prosecutors said Sutherland admitted that in late January 2025, he had put another man had another man put the carcass of a Canada goose on the doorstep of the victim's mother. When the dead bird was discovered, it had a threatening note inside of its beak. He then recruited another man who was already in prison for setting the intended target's mother's car on fire.
A man who's already in prison? What's with these people?
I don't know what's going on.
Connections.
Yes.
Resources on the inside, resources on the outside.
I mean, I am happy that these people are calling on a recorded line making, death plans.
It's very true.
There's just a lot freaking going on here. So the man that he was working with the feds, and then he's a confidential informant, so they don't give his name. Sutherland and the informant met over several months to discuss the plot. Sometimes they would meet over breakfast or at a bowling alley. So they would do that at a bowling alley.
Nice.
The pair planned to rent a van from a nun.
This is
Quite
a
got
cast
an
of
easy
characters.
pass. They want to lure the victim to a parole office with the promise of a job, and then drive his remains out to a farm in Pennsylvania, feed him to the fucking hogs.
It's ridiculous.
What went wrong?
Everything. Everything went wrong. Yeah, he says, we'll take him to the farm and let the hogs eat him.
Wow.
Well, that's not butt of the week at all.
No. But because the other one.
Yeah, and then confidential informant, well, they say, well, you want to see the proof he's dead?
Mm-hmm.
And then Sutherland said, of course I do.
Of course.
So anyway, he's been arrested now.
Probably for the best.
Yep. Yeah, the guy he said he wants a bullet in his head, and then he also wants to be fed the hogs.
Wow.
Anyway, relationships are tough, and this is why
Relationships are tough.
you kind of do have to know who your ex is currently with to know how much is your life in danger.
Yeah, I guess that could also be a thing. But it's
Yeah, it's
also,
like you already have the girl. What are you trying to kill him for?
seriously, like I hate when you meet someone and they're like, all right, number one thing that I'm looking for is someone that doesn't have a past at 33 years old.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
There's a whole person before you.
Yeah. Well, good news and bad news. I don't really have a past, but I do have a present that's horrible.
Yeah.
So let's deal with that.
Jump on in.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to another great week of OK Bud.
Yes!
Also, Adam West on Death and Entertainment. And is there anything else? Anything, Jerii? Do you want to say anything you want to say? We got some lovely fan email for you.
We did get some. What was the email?
An appreciation post for Jerii.
Someone said that I think I'm in love with Jerii, isn't it?
That's
what he said. It was because he was British. He's from the United Kingdom.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Keep him across the pond.
Yeah.
Any comments?
Brittany was talking about the baby. She said that baby's full of cocaine.
Okay.
So yeah, they did the right thing. People were thinking you were going to talk about the mongoose honk honk.
Honk honk.
Pano wants a whole episode dedicated to this story because there's too many twists and turns. We need to slow it down.
Which one?
The whole pig farmer renting a car from a nun and all that.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the nun probably has her own story of how she got here to begin with, too.
We'll keep you updated on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was a Jerii appreciation email. They say, started off my morning with y'all as always. Thank you, Samantha. At one point in the latest episode, Ben mentioned how he's losing weight, and Jerii says, "You're doing great, King." And then she says, "My heart swelled that Jerii was so nice." Aww. And she says, "Good job on taking care of yourself in 2025. And as always, I'm truly so happy for you that you have Jerii and Kyle in your circle."
That's so nice. You see, I'm nice. I'm nice to you.
Yep. I love all three of you so much. Thanks for the laughs.
Aw, thank you so much. That's
I'm
so
about to
sweet.
get beat up. Okay, everyone. Thank you all so much for listening. Hail yourself. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.